Yo, what up, guys? Here we go.
Yo, I
Mad
appreciate.
Li- Mad Lines was good.
What's up? I'm here.
Yeah. So you said you just got finished with the class?
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually like sweating a bit, but
I
I got,
saw.
I got, I got ready real quick. I put on an earring. You
Oh,
know,
there you go. There you
just,
go.
just one
Hey,
though. Just
just
I
you keep
couldn't.
the hair right there.
Yeah, I couldn't find the other one.
Perfect. Perfect. Yo, what class were you taking?
Jasmine Albuquerque. She teaches this class called Pulse. It's
Uh-huh.
it's quite, it's pretty, pretty dynamic.
Yeah. So wait, it's called Pulse?
It's called Pulse. She teaches like a long warm up and then like dynamic, like contemporary, like thrashing movement.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Like it's contemporary dance, but it's like, yeah, it's really like dynamic. So yeah, I like it.
Dang. So, like, by dynamic, you mean, see, this is why I want to have you on because you're part of this whole other world too, like dynamic thrashing. I mean, the immediate.
By that I mean like because how I know you like in, not saying popping or like animation isn't cannot be dynamic, but it's like it's a little more based on body control. So sometimes I just gotta thrash, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I
So,
mean?
what are the guidelines that she gives? Like, is there any framework for the thrashing? Is there like
Yes.
shapes or?
Yeah. She usually does a long warm up and then like a small choreography, but the choreography is very interpretive. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm,
there's like a lot of repetition, so you can really like play with that movement.
mm.
You know what I
And
mean?
when I think of thrashing, I think of like, I think of crump in a way.
Yeah.
Does it look like that at all?
I mean, not saying that her choreography looks like that, like, all the time, but today there was a lot of like I'm just gonna demonstrate.
Yes.
There was a lot of like thrash. You know what I mean? Like big.
Okay.
Well,
Got you.
what I would interpret as like thrashing. Maybe that's just how I interpret the movement. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Does she have a word that she uses for it?
No, she just does it.
She just does it. She's like, okay, we're doing this in this direction and go after it.
Yeah,
That's
but
tight.
yeah. Okay, enough with the class. Yeah.
I'm so curious, but yeah, I mean, so for the people that don't know, this is Mad Lines, Madeline Riley,
Hi.
and and yeah, we've known each other for I don't know how long, maybe what do you think? Like 3 years, 2 years, maybe,
Yeah, I mean, I would say maybe three.
maybe three.
I knew you maybe before you knew me. Like
Huh.
I just, but yeah, maybe two, three.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like where the first place we met was. And it was probably at the lot, I'm guessing, at the parking lot, maybe, when it was still at the parking lot.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So how did you get tied into that? How did you get tied into that? Like, how did you find out about the parking lot?
Um, I found out the parking lot because in I'm gonna say 2017, like earlier in the year, probably maybe like yeah, January. There was a Mr. Animation battle, like anniversary battle. Um, it was really small though. There was like 8 people there or something, like really small. But I had entered, and I think Slim was there with some of his students, like at the time, which were like Metal and D-Pain. And I think I just went up to Slim and like asked him because I had heard about the lot a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just asked him a question, and then they said to come to the class,
Ah,
which at the time he was doing, yeah, at the lot. So
yeah,
so I just started coming to his early classes at the parking lot, and yeah, definitely like me and a few other people were probably like the consistent students or people or students friends just pulling up.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so, like, was that your first exposure to street dance, or had you already been like popping or
Um,
animating?
I was actually on Warriors crew at the time.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, I was on Warriors crew, New Era, which I don't know you're familiar. I'll just explain it for the people in the live. Warriors crew is a crew created by Shockwave. If you guys know Shockwave, dancer, he's really really dope. Yeah, so I was originally on so in Warriors crew originally I think was like Shockwave, Sumi, Marie, Keon. Do you
Mhm.
remember who else?
Um, there was a couple other
Yeah,
people. I think Shoji was on there as well.
Shoji. Yeah, there were a couple other people, but and then they had an audition for Warriors Crew New Era, and
Mm.
that's when I was trying to learn popping at the time, and I really so I auditioned for that. I think I was 18. I think I was 18.
Mm.
18 about to turn 19, and so I auditioned for Warriors Crew New Era. So actually when I started training at the lot, I was technically still on Warriors Crew. Yeah.
Gotcha. Dang. So did you come to Cali at 18?
Yeah.
Is that, and you're originally from the East Coast,
Boston.
Boston. So were you part of that scene at all? Did you know like Stax or Ilya or any of those guys?
I did, but not I wasn't too active in the Boston freestyle scene.
Hmm.
Um Actually my first popping teacher though in Boston was Lady Beast. Do you know
Mm.
Lady
Yeah,
Beast?
yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I was just getting into that when I was like 18, about to leave for LA. And before that, I was more in the studio scene, um, to be honest. Yeah, so I was really like, I didn't really know, like Stax and Lady Beast and all of them like too well.
Yeah. So you were in the studio scene, you mean like in high school you were dancing and were you doing like choreography or
Yeah, I was at a like local studio like multiple times a week training in like jazz and
Oh, okay.
tap.
Oh, really? You did tap
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, I did like jazz tap, modern ballet, acro,
Whoa.
uh point.
Damn. All of the above. Shit.
Yeah.
So was that how many years were you doing that for?
From the ages of like 4 till it was 18.
Whoa. Shit. So
Yeah.
you've been a dancer your whole life,
Yeah, I love this shit.
like yo, that's so dope. It's really rare that you like meet somebody that's been doing it their whole life. So you had a crazy transition then, it feels like.
Yeah.
Shit. So when you were in Boston and you spent like your whole basically upbringing dancing, And then you came to Cali to go to LMU, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, LMU to pursue what, a fine arts degree?
I originally came in with a nutrition degree, with a as a nutrition major. Apple a day, guys. Apple a day.
Shit.
But that quickly fell off. And I actually got really distracted in school. I moved off campus, skipping class all the time, because was I wanted to dance.
Yeah.
So I was like skipping class, going to auditions. At one time, I was even like going part time, and then I got more serious towards the end. But at the beginning of college, I was definitely really distracted because I was really excited to be in LA, and be around like all this new information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you pursued a nutrition degree. Was that something you were really, really interested in at the time, or was it like kind of imposed on you from somewhere else? Or
It was a bit imposed.
yeah.
My family wasn't so supportive of like pursuing the arts on a career level. So I think I majored in nutrition because I wanted to, yeah, I wanted to make them happy, or yeah.
Yeah. What was it about nutrition? Because like you could have chose a lot of things, right? But
Yeah, I mean, I was interested in nutrition. I had been during high school, I had been transitioning to veganism. So I was having a lot of realizations about my health and stuff. So it was an interest, for sure.
mm, yeah, I was definitely super into nutrition as well.
Yes,
Um,
I know.
yeah, in college and yeah, I would say college age at least. I mean, my beginnings of college were not they were definitely rocky. Because I had to go to like community college first, and then because my high school grades, like I barely graduated high school, so actually I dropped out of high school at one point. So um, it was actually just by sheer luck in a way, not luck, I guess. But basically, I had dropped out of high school my whole senior year for about 6 months of that senior year, and then yeah, yeah, it was a rocky time. But then when I came back to school, because I actually went to rehab when I was 17, so when I came back to school, well, I got out of rehab because I turned 18, so I couldn't actually be legally kept there. So then when I came back to school, the president of the school realized I was struggling, but he really like loved me. So he stayed after school every day to read me history books so that
Oh,
I could get credits to pass on time, um, which is kind of crazy.
crazy when somebody believes in you.
Yeah, well, I said, hey man, I can't really read. Um, because at the time they didn't really know what was going on. So I had gone to a bunch of different doctors and stuff, but or therapists, some doctors, but they couldn't really figure out. I was diagnosed with like ADHD, of course, and but they didn't. They found out later that a lot of it had to do with, well, that and there was an issue with my eyes and my eye muscles. So like I couldn't actually track the lines of words. So I
Wow.
would read a line and like my eyes would jump around, and then like especially when I tried to jump to the next line, my eyes would scatter, like my eye muscles, and
Yeah.
then I couldn't really focus on the
Huh.
entire page.
That's
So
so interesting.
yeah, so then I basically I think by nature I became a visual learner, you know.
Oh, yeah,
I was like, can you just like show me how to do it? Like, and then I can
yeah.
kind of just replicate it. Um,
Well, I imagine if you can't understand the content by reading. Yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't know that, Diesel.
yeah, I didn't really start to learn how to read. Um, I didn't actually learn how to read till I started popping actually. Um,
Oh,
yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Like I can attribute um, that my ability to read with popping because basically I learned how to sustain my focus for longer periods of time.
mm,
Um,
for
eh,
sure, for
yeah.
sure.
So, because I would be practicing robot, so it was like moving really slow and trying to maintain this like real like long focus and tension. And then when I realized, oh shit, I actually have like an internal choice to stay focused. And then
Yeah,
yeah,
that's really dope that that helped you tap into that. I definitely feel like yeah, studying
yeah,
animation or has like helped with my focus as well.
yeah. Emilio says, "Wow, Daniel, you know how to read."
Can you read? You can read now. You can read.
I can read,
We're just
guys. I can
we're just
read.
confirming that Diesel knows how to read.
I'm literate. Yes, I got it. But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, nutrition was definitely an interest as well for me. So, but I didn't really. I failed out at community college one year, and then was able to when I got into popping. That's when, um, like I became a straight A student from like straight
Oh,
Fs to
Poppin
straight
saved my life.
A. Yo, Papa saved my
Poppin
life.
saved my life, man.
I always wanted to say that. No, yeah. Oh shit, yeah. This guy always rides by on his bike. He's got like one of those dope ass bikes with the high handlebars, but he's got a motor on it. But yeah, anyways, yeah, so this yeah, this like pursuit of nutrition and then all of a sudden you came to LA and you had this like what was the realization that made you change your life path?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think that I had a lot of family pressure on me uh to be excellent in like the way that I thought that my family would like, which didn't really involve a career in the arts. So I was slowly changing majors a lot. I changed my major from nutrition to art history because art history. I thought you're kind of still on like the backbone of arts, right?
Hmm.
I thought that was safe but
Yeah.
but still interesting. And then
Yeah.
after like one semester of art history, I was just like, yo, fuck it, I'm the artist. I was like, I was like reading about all these artists, and I was just like, I'm one of these guys though. Like I'm
Yeah.
not.
I'm not a person that reads about them. I'm the person.
I want to be in the book,
Yeah.
like um. So but I do still like reading about artists. But yeah, that's when I just switched to like full on study of visual arts and dance.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Damn. So that was like after a year of studying art history, or
I think yeah. That well no, I was only an art history major for like a semester. So I think it was like a year and then I switched to like being an art major. My
hmm.
girl yeah, Shannon said period. Period.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's no question in my mind, uh, like what you are as far as where you fit on that spectrum. Yeah, you've always been like somebody who's been willing to explore, and I think that's an artist, is the willingness to not be defined by a particular tool set, but to realize that you are more than everything that it is that you do.
Yeah, uh, what he said.
Yeah, it's like some people get caught up and start defining themselves by the things that they do, but that you realize that there's something behind the lens or the aesthetic that's like gonna prevail regardless of what you choose to pursue.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally, totally.
So when you chose to go now, what was your major eventually? Like what did it come to be?
Um, I switched majors a lot. Then it was mult. Even forget the name of it. I think it was like multimedia art. Um, I liked that major because it combined like film and I was even taking animation at one point, like computer animation and dance. It was like art about movement. You know what I mean? So it was like film, animation, dance. So I was doing that I think for a year and I learned some pretty good skills, but I realized in that year that I didn't really like working so much on the computer or with technology. Slight technophobia. Um,
Mhm.
so I changed it to fine arts individualized studies.
You like it felt like you kept making safe bets until you fully wanted to go all in, right? It was
Yeah.
like,
Um, and the thing is about this individualized studies major is that they really kept it secret at my school. Like they didn't really advertise that very
mm,
well. I had to go through many weird tabs in the website to find it.
wow. And like when you're choosing majors at a college, it's really you're choosing a course set, right? Like you basically, okay, these are all the classes and credits you need to actually achieve the certificate of this title, right?
Correct.
So basically what you did for the first year and a half was you took classes that weren't oriented to the thing you graduated with.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. So for the
Yeah.
people that aren't part of the academic world, it's kind of weird, you know.
It is kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I, I didn't know what I wanted to be either. Like, and I think, also having pressure, well, not so much pressure from home, but I think, yeah, they kind of, I don't know. Well, they supported and then, or they were distant, either way, you know.
Yeah.
But in the back of your mind, whether it's society, or your upbringing, or these expectations of like you being something great, they kind of always motivate your decisions. Oh, I never even contemplated like becoming a fine arts major.
Yeah.
I Yeah, I never. I mean, I didn't start dancing until I was really 20 years old, so
Right.
I was already kind of in community college. But the
Yeah.
thing that was that.
Well, I was gonna say, and also in high schools, if you go to a regular high school, like I don't know what kind of high school you went to, but I went to like, a public normal high school. A lot of people aren't like they don't really advertise a lot for you to go to art school at a regular school. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Yeah, so it's like maybe people like me and you don't even know that you could go to an art school.
yeah, yeah. No, it definitely wasn't promoted. It
Yeah,
for
me
sure
neither.
wasn't promoted. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really attend high school so much, so
Right, yeah, yeah, I remember.
so I definitely missed that class if they did. Um, I Yeah, I think for me the study of psychology was really applicable in the art world, you know? So like
Definitely.
trying to understand the why behind everything. You know, why am I the way that I am? You know, why are other people like this? And um, kind of trying to look at the world through a psychological lens, from a psychology perspective, but then realizing at the end that getting a bachelor's in psychology might be the biggest curse you could have. It's like, oh, you just gave me enough tools to ponder, but never find an answer, you know? Like,
Right. Like it's a great it's like I can imagine like psychology is such a great like starting point for like making like art. You know what I mean? Like having all that. But yeah, but then it's I don't know.
well, yeah, I think, you know, psychology provides you different tools as well. Like the thing is, when you're just beginning to learn about it, you take the things out of textbook as like these are truths. These are truths. Like when you talk about Freud or somebody like that, or
Yeah.
Maslow, all these people, you think like, oh, okay, that's how the human mind works. But really, it's how they like figured out how their like the mind works for them. You know, they created a system on how
Right.
to break down psychology in a real nice package. But you realize that this it's an interpretation at the end of the day.
Yeah. So as a psychology major, are you reading like a bunch? You're reading like a bunch of different people's interpretation, right? Like all the big like
Yeah, I
Freud.
mean, yeah, the big ones, yeah, the big ones. But then you're the thing with academia though is that they kind of make it like, okay, when it comes to analyzing your childhood, Freud is the guy. That's the truth, you
Okay.
know. When it comes to, you know, analyzing dreams, like Carl Jung, like you have these people where they're just like, okay, this is the person, but really there's a whole field of people that are studying this thing. So, or like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So you have all
Hmm.
these things that the human mind needs to fully be satisfied with life. It's like, damn, it comes down to a pyramid, really? I mean, is that
Yeah.
simple? Shit. Okay, check. I'm gonna check the bottom. I got the second one. I got the third one. Some reason I can't hit this fourth one, and it's like, you know, yeah. The crazy thing for me was when I was studying. I did a whole project on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but to realize that when they first published his pyramid, like the top of the pyramid is self-actualization, right? So you have like your security needs, all these needs are being met, and then the top where you are like at your human potential is
Hmm.
like self-actualization, where you know you become all that you want to be, right?
Ah,
But really, um, Maslow produced a second hierarchy of needs that never got published in the textbooks,
what is
because
that?
they had already printed and accepted his theories on this pyramid.
Do we need to get a secret text?
You got to dig a
I
little bit.
definitely want to
No,
go
but
and like.
if you look it up, it's there's self-actualization, and then actually he added to the top of that, which is self-transcendence. Um,
Whoa.
and so the textbooks didn't really want that's a woo woo. That's woo woo topic. You know, that's kind of like hippie shit.
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah.
about transcendence.
Especially in academia.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Like,
not really quantifiable. You know,
yeah.
it's not quantifiable. Like, yeah, you know, look at this person. We can really analyze and look and see that they're self-transcendent. Of course, you know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could say I've transcended the self, but there's no real way to tell.
Right.
So. the I did a whole project on how Maslow's true hierarchy of needs uh, completely fit with Sufi tradition.
Ah,
Yeah, Sufism.
whoa.
Yeah, it's getting trippy. Yeah, so like the Sufi tradition is like a branch of Islam, but
Yeah,
they
I've heard of this, but I don't. Yeah, enlighten me. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, like Sufism, they put a big emphasis on altered states of consciousness.
Hmm.
Um, by altered states, what they do is like there's a tradition called the whirling dervishes. Um, and they're like basically like dancers, but they wear like these big kind of like dresses or gowns, right? And they just spin and spin and spin and spin, and they're in groups and they just spin and they reach this altered state by getting so dizzy and to the rhythms and like that they believe that they're becoming like transcending their self, having a out of body experience.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like what we do with freestyle and dance.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, Sufism is a cool tradition, and also it's not like most people associate like Islam with certain kind of real rigid views, while Sufis are very kind of like extremely non-violent uh, and very like welcoming. Like I went to a couple Sufi meetings. I'm sure they have a word
You
for it.
did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
What the
yeah.
fuck, Diesel?
Well, I mean, yo, my early 20s, like,
Was
or
it
no,
with
my mid
Jewishness?
20s.
Okay.
So, well, basically, my younger brother was in living in Palo Alto in the Bay, and he went to a school called Sophia University, and that university was the woo woo of woo woo. It's like the psychedelic
Psychedelic
therapy.
University.
It is. It really was. It really was. So basically, like, I mean, they were all about altered states and like psychedelics as a form of therapy.
Mm.
Um, so his teacher was this guy James Fadiman who wrote the book called The Psychedelic Explorer's Guide, like way back. These guys are like people that hung out with like Timothy Leary and stuff, you know. Um, yeah, so it like when I was going there, his president of his school was like the Sufi leader.
Fuck.
So so I went to one of their like worship meetings.
Dude,
It was
that,
wild. It was wild because it was
that
kind of
sounds
like yeah, they have like these I mean you go to their house, you know. You go in their house and he's giving a talk and he has like this like their outfits and everything is yeah, it's really interesting. And then you like you sit on these little stools, but they're like propped up like this, and your legs can go underneath them. So you're like on your knees, and
yeah,
then so I like them. And then they have like sheepskin all on the ground. It's interesting.
yeah.
Yeah,
That is
it
interesting.
was wild.
Sorry. Hi, CJ. CJ says my hair looks good. Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how we got down that rabbit hole.
Me neither, but
Yo, so but yeah, the idea I think like knowing what I wanted to study in college wasn't very clear. And psychology was just something
yeah,
uh, that intrigued me. It was just endless curiosity in that realm.
it is. It's definitely an endless study. Yeah, we should. We'll talk more about the Sufi. I want to hear more about this off. We'll talk about it off live another time.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, it just so happens. Oh, that's why we were talking about it because when it comes to academia, you kind of like
Yes.
choose this path, and then you have to take all these courses. I ended up with a minor in religious studies because I was just always taking religion courses and psychology courses and philosophy. So,
I also liked religion courses.
mm, yeah. What did you like about them?
Um, I like I like the idea of organized belief systems,
Mm,
even if I'm not like a part of one,
yeah.
like attached to my identity. I like think I'm sure you would agree. I think they're super interesting. Um,
Mm,
yeah, I took this class on like cults, but even in the class about cults, we talk about the word cult. So sometimes I'm like nervous when I say that class because some cults don't like the word cult attached to. But yeah, that was really interesting
yeah.
class. I really liked that class, and I think that like studying different organized belief systems, it's also why connects to dance and like why like I find certain like cultures of dance really interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's funny you said the cult thing because that was like what I was studying a lot
Oh, really?
actually. Yeah. So because I grew up really religious.
Yeah.
My dad was a pastor when I was a little kid.
Yeah,
And
I
my
can
grandpa
imagine.
was a pastor and all that. So it's just like lineage of religion. So yeah, the cult and what they call like a sect of a religion. It's interesting because basically nobody considers themselves a cult, right? It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a religion to them. It's a belief system. A cult is usually used by an outsider that's looking in and saying, "Whoa,
Yeah.
that's not right."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then a sect is kind of like is more of a sect is more of like when you think of Christian churches, you think of like Baptist or Lutheran or
Like a
Presbyterian.
sect is
Um,
larger.
yeah, it's connected to like, well, they all like have uh, the main things they believe in are the same, but then certain interpretations of the Bible are maybe a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then cults are kind of like usually associated with one major leader, that leads a cult. It's like a kind of like a dictatorship in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's super interesting in how it ties in with dance too, because we do have belief systems. We do have like hierarchies and
And
uh
especially in well, I would maybe in all styles of dance, but I feel like especially in like street dance, there's so many subgenres
mhm.
and like little niche cultures within like this bigger culture, which I feel like yeah, I don't not that it feels religious, but do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, there are some
Right.
religious type people in the street dance world. We all know
Yeah.
that it's usually associated like when we say religious, it's kind of like rigid ideology, rigid thinking.
Yeah, you feel me? Yeah.
Yeah, it's true, it's true.
Yeah.
And
Like
who's the
certain
leader?
of these styles have like really strict guidelines. You
Yeah,
know? That it's like if you want to really be part of this, if you want to really identify with this style, you know what I mean?
you got to be a part of the culture.
Yeah.
You got to be see that's it gets kind of weird, right? Like you have to be a part of the culture. So it's kind of like we're in some ways it feels like okay,
Culture.
yeah, culture. It's
Culture.
like yes. So it's kind of like we have to identify and the culture like what I've had talks with before is like, when are you not a guest in the culture anymore, right? And it's
Right. Very
well, when the
interesting.
culture adopts you.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's really interesting topic. Um,
Yeah, so like when a culture adopts you, then so now it's kind of like, okay, you're welcome into the church of said style, you know.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting what you just said as far as like this kind of almost like a religious context to street dance specifically, but like when you think about your background and all these other styles, like do you encounter similar things in those? Like, do they have cultures that surround them? Or are they kind of just movement? You know,
There's definitely cultures around, yeah, like all dance styles, but I would say that the way that I was delivered these styles, like in my early like studio upbringing, is like, because I wasn't in like a ballet school or a tap school. It's like a jack of all, almost like a jack of all trades thing. So
mm,
you're learning about jazz dance. I'm just gonna, but it's like not, you're not in the jazz culture, and you're
mm,
not, you know what I mean? And I'm learning ballet, but I'm not in, and it does cause an effect on the level. I honestly felt like, you know, when I was studying there, that I wasn't proficient at any of these styles, and I wasn't very confident as a dancer. Yeah.
mm. So you had a relative idea like where your skill stood outside of the studio you were at?
Um, yes, but only by like going out and like dancing
Uh,
different, like dancing at, like I went to a few, I don't know if you're familiar with conventions. Are you
yeah,
familiar?
uh-huh.
Yeah, with like dance. So I when I was like 15, maybe no, maybe I would say 14 or 15 is when I started like going to some conventions, and getting more like exposure of like dancers in the Northeast. And then when I was about 17, I joined my first like crew. But it
Mm,
was like, which is called expressive movement. Shout out to expressive movement. Changed my life. It was like, for me, this was a big deal at the time. It was like we did choreography, but we also did a lot of like freestyle, and we would perform at like World of Dance, and like those like hip hop comps.
yeah.
Yeah. But so yeah, so when I was getting a bit older is when I started to like get more exposure outside. Sorry, I'm going off topic.
No, 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 that's good. That the conventions like the see, I'm only familiar with conventions in the sense of like when I would hear certain people talk about them in a business sense, like
Ah,
or they would get hired to teach at a convention and they're like, yo, I'm getting paid, you know, like, and I was
right.
like,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
are
yeah.
conventions, yo?
Yeah, you want me to break it down real quick?
Yeah, what is a convention?
So a dance convention is like a weekend convention where they have teachers like teaching all day. So um you're taking like 6 classes a day or something, or something like that, and then there's like usually a big performance at the end. um and there's different conventions that specialize in different things. Like Monsters of Hip Hop is like a primarily hip hop dance convention, and then there's ones that are oriented more towards contemporary. Yeah, so
So then they're just like kind of weekend events that like compile all these like experts or people that are like famous together.
Yeah.
So then they'll kind of be regional as well. So they'll be like one in the Northeast.
Exactly. Yeah. So usually like if it was a really big convention, like when I was growing up, the biggest one in the Northeast was probably the Pulse, which was run by Brian Friedman. Don't know if you're familiar.
Sounds familiar. Where
Yeah,
is he from?
legend. I don't know where he's from, but that was probably the biggest one. So we would get, kids from Boston, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maine, like that whole area would all like flock down
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it. So those were my first exposures to like really good dancers.
yeah.
Yeah,
And you saw the good dancers. Were they the people that pulled up, or were they the people like on stage, or
but both.
both?
Yeah,
And
both.
so that's when you felt like, oh, okay, this is where I stand on the skill level.
Yeah.
And yeah. See, everybody thinks you're having a great hair day, you know.
You know what's funny is that if you actually watch the video, the beginning of this video, I was sweating and and was just like trying to figure out something to do with it.
Yo, it worked out. Yo, it worked out. Fans in the comments. Yo, but yeah, so conventions and then so did you ever feel like you had a social component to your dance like when you were growing up? Was there any like were you going to like high school parties or were you going to like anything outside of your studio in dancing?
Um, yeah, I went to some school dances, uh, but to be straight up, I'm gonna say social dancing was not a part of my life, like
Mm,
in my like immediate family and stuff. Like
yeah.
it just like doesn't like
So
they barely listen to music. It's
I was just having this talk, yo. I was just having this talk with somebody. It was like I was actually having it with Stacks. I said, yo, like my dad doesn't like music.
yeah, no, like my mom like doesn't listen to music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's like, you have people that grow up with like, their mom singing when they're cooking and like, dancing around the house. Yo, surprisingly though, my mom, I got her so opened up now, like it's so crazy.
Yeah.
This morning she turns on the music. She's like, she said, uh, Alexa, she's like, volume 7, she, volume 7, and the thing just starts bumping, and it's like Imagine Dragons, Believer, right?
What?
And she starts jumping around in the living room, and I'm like, I just got my cup of coffee, like, I'm like, Mom, yo. So for me, I get a lot of inspiration actually from her and my brother, because they're so free. Like they're so
Yeah.
when they're not they are not inhibited by rhythm.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like
So much beauty in that.
serious. I'm serious. I'm so serious. Like I remember specifically in San Francisco, I would go up there all the time, like I go up there all the time still, but my
Yeah.
my brother, he moved up there for college in the middle of the city in like I don't know if you've ever been to Dolores Park.
I have once.
I knew you have.
Also, hey, Stacks. Stacks is here.
Shout out to Stags, yo, Boston in the building.
Stacks.
Yeah, like I went
CJ,
like
stop it. Okay, so
notice.
continue. Dolores Park is dope.
Yeah,
Hey, if you guys haven't had a picnic at Dolores Park, pop up and have a picnic at Dolores Park.
I'm like, there's no way Madeline has never been to Dolores Park. Like, you are the person at Dolores Park, like
Oh,
for
I
sure.
am the girl at Dolores Park, like playing an acoustic guitar, like with my friend.
So for the people that don't know, Dolores Park is like this park in the middle of the city, and it has like a hill, like it's a big park that goes up this hill, and everybody shoots over there, like well throughout the week, but on the weekend it gets popping, you know, like it's basically a party, you know. There's people walking around like selling all types of stuff and like just drinking and slacklining and hula hooping. It's just basically like the 1960s. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
we love that.
We love that. And then the top of it's actually called the fruit shelf. It's like this bank that goes around and I'm not just calling it that, it's called that, but that's like basically notorious for where all the gay community gathers on Saturday. And it's like it's dope. It's hella fun up there, yo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like really chomping this apple to the core. Like there's like almost nothing left. I'm just like
yo. Down to the core. Yeah, but yeah, San Francisco's awesome. I mean, like, have you been a part of the turfing community at all up there? I mean, I feel like you would fit in pretty well.
no, because I haven't really danced much like in the Bay at all.
Mm,
But yeah, no, but I'd love to do. I've looked at like some of the turfing battle. I'd love to do like some battles up there.
no, seriously, we got to make that happen, yo. Like, I don't know which because I was talking to Intricate about it, but you know, the gentrification is heavy, you know,
Yeah,
so a
that's what
lot of the
that's what I've heard
yeah.
in some of those towns up there.
Yeah, Oakland, SF, yeah,
Oakland,
anywhere in
yeah.
the Bay basically. But so a lot of those like that turfing culture got displaced, you know, so it's tough. But they're still around for sure. There's still battles happening there and but yeah, it would be dope to see you matched up with somebody up there. If you had to this is like your post-fight interview, Madaline. So like if you want to call anybody out, uh
What? Right
Have
now?
yeah, have you seen anybody
I'm
up there?
calling out all y'all motherfuckers. I'm calling out CJ Ray. No, I'm kidding. I don't have anybody to call out right. I don't call people out.
I know, but have you seen anybody up there that you feel like, oh, maybe my style it would be fun to learn and like exchange with that person?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think Intricate's super dope, but then I actually met Intricate in the summer in New
Mm,
York. So we met and we had a little tutting cipher moment in the corner. Love
yeah.
that.
Yes.
Love that. In the middle of the hip hop jam when you and the other tutter go in the corner and
That's it. I was
you're
just
saying,
about to
hey
say
man.
that. You guys
Yeah.
like have this moment where you kind of like, yo, I know,
I know
and
what
then
you're
you
trying to
just
do right now.
I love that shit. It's so funny. Like that happens with some of these sub styles, you know, like these subgenres, like waving. Yeah, waving. It happens sometimes, but honestly, there's not that many. It's not that many just wavers anymore.
Right. Yeah. I feel like yeah, there's the lack of just there is a slight lowerage of like waivers, straight waivers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you find them. I mean, like the liquid scene is probably the the I don't know, like the densest population of them, but
Are you a
yeah.
waiver?
Yeah, I'm for sure a waiver. Yeah.
Also, I don't know how if I think that this might cut off in like 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can just restart it too.
Okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to give you a heads up.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think waving, I was talking to Function about this the other day, was like, yeah, I mean, we don't really know where the waving scene is going. You know, there's a couple people that are really trying to
It's
push it
just
right now.
it's so wavy. We don't know what's
We
going
don't
on.
know. We just wavy about it, bro.
They're just
Yo.
where they're just waving all over.
Yeah, yeah, we gotta do something about the wave community,
I mean, E Boogie seems to be really
Yeah,
starting some really dope like waving centric.
yeah, that's dope. Shout out to E Boogie for doing that. He's got the online competition that he's been trying to work. I know the COVID thing threw it off, but yeah. And then I mean, Function and Jay Smooth and Enox, that they got Wave Gang. They're trying to spread stuff. They got an online battle as well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, you're right. You're right. Actually, maybe it's not. So, maybe it's actually more alive than we thought.
yeah, but that's like, I mean,
Yeah,
when you
you're
think
right.
about
That's like
tutting,
3 people.
yeah, yeah, that's like okay, four people really pushing. Yeah, then you look at tutting and you go like to India or something, and you're like, dang, everybody's tutting. Almost everybody's tutting everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. People
Yeah.
people love it.
So when it comes to tutting, what first inspired you to get into that?
Yo, I'm gonna just say I don't even when I started tutting, I didn't even know like it was tutting, and I think that that's one of the inclinations of a tutter. Do you know
Just
what I
to
mean?
not know.
To not you just don't know what at least as for me. I don't know because I didn't like I didn't learn tutting as an element of popping. I was just like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So wait, then what brought it up?
I don't even know how I got exposed to it. I have no idea. If you want me to be completely honest, I think that maybe because I think I went to my first jam ever when I was like 17 in like some some weird part of Massachusetts. Uh, some weird part of Massachusetts. And so that's when I started seeing these things in real life. But I had been exposed to, some reality TV shows and YouTube videos beforehand that I think could have played an influence. I don't remember like looking up tutting or anything, but I mean, I was definitely watching So You Think You Can Dance growing up.
Yeah,
Some of those early dancers on there. So I would say maybe that's
yeah. There's like
first inspo for that.
yeah, early sights of it, but not really attaching it to some sort of name or like
Right. Like
following someone closely.
totally like I didn't know like that dancer on that show did a tut. You just see it and
Yeah.
it all
So you were
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, damn. So then you just started doing it, and then when did you figure out it was tutting?
When I moved to Los Angeles, I think.
Yeah.
Or also if you want me to be honest, I think I was okay, it's coming back. I was an early watcher of people like Blueprint and Ditto when Dragon House was really popping off on YouTube. Before,
Um,
you know what I mean? Before Instagram and everything. Um, like, so I used to actually watch a lot of videos of Blueprint and Ditto.
mm,
Yeah.
damn. Yeah, everybody's like,
That's
oh, be
yeah,
honest, man. Lines, be
it's
honest.
actually hard to trace back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think those were the first times where I started getting like seeing people specialize in it. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And then I started really getting in the YouTube hole.
mm.
Yeah.
The YouTube rabbit hole. Okay, this
YouTube
is
rabbit
about
hole.
this is about to end, so I'll just restart another one real quick.
Okay,
All
come
right.
back, guys.